This weekend marks 5 years since George Floyd was murdered by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin in front of a crowd in broad daylight. Floyd's death caused outrage across the world and demands for police to do a better job. Now many of those efforts are being rolled back. Last week, the Trump administration said it intends to cancel a consent decree to enforce changes in the Minneapolis Police Department. Skyler Henry spent time riding with officers through a city that is still hurting 5 years later.
The overwhelming piece that I just can't say enough about is all of the associated trauma.
On a rainy night alongside Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, we returned to the very square where Officer Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck, sparking protests here, across the country, and around the world.
It feels like at one point this intersection was at the center of the world because of what happened here.
So immediately after this happened here, the level of crime in the city skyrocketed.
There were calls to defund the police, convictions in Floyd's death, and federal and state consent decrees aimed to eliminate racial bias and excessive use of force. The federal agreement was in the final stages of implementation. Last week, the feds moved to end it.
These are still open wounds here, like for everybody.
Everybody includes people like Omar Muhammad, who has seen a positive change.
Before, police used to pull over everybody. The kid on the street, they used to use a lot of difficult stuff, you know?
How are you, sir?
Many we met wanted to chat with O'Hara, but not to our cameras. The chief says one of his biggest challenges is the diminished number of people willing to work on the force.
I've been standing there, like boys, teenagers, men are dead in the street, and mom is behind the crime scene tape wailing, and I'm going through my head thinking, we've had so many murders already this week. What happens if someone else dies? We don't have enough homicide investigators. I mean, it's been that critical at times. The urgency of the problem is real.
While O'Hara's department has made progress, Minneapolis is one of the few major cities where the violent crime rate has not improved much since 2020.
We are prioritizing and focusing on, the most harm. So yes, there are assaults and we're recording all of them, but we are focusing on the gun violence, the shootings in the city.
Back at George Floyd Square,
The one bridge I think that police have with community that have been deeply affected is that trauma.
the chief tells us his department will continue to work on the balance between fighting crime and building trust.
But people here are not looking for us to solve all their problems. One, they just want to be heard, and two, they want to be respected. They want to feel like the police department here cares about them and about their issues.
For CBS Mornings, Skyler Henry, Minneapolis.
And the legacy of George Floyd, still a question mark. The front page of the New York Times today talks about the rise in killings by police, up 18% in the last 5 years. Much of it was due to armed people confronting the police, but still some unarmed people. The question, whether the consent decree is still needed across the country.
At least as far as it comes to Minneapolis, I'm glad to see the police chief showing up and explaining to the people that there is a balance to be had between fighting crime and also building trust in the community.
Trust is key.
Thank you, Skyler, for that report.